TheCraftyGemini, and I'm back with day 7 of my 12 days of last-minute DIY gifts video series. In this video tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to make my no-show slip socks. This project is going to be another quick and easy make. I can make a pair of these little socks in under 10 minutes. And they're so easy that even kids can make them because we've been making a ton of these in our weekly sewing sessions that I host with my kids and their friends. So you can totally make these. We're working with a cotton spandex fabric, and I'm going to show you just how to make them on a sewing machine so you don't even need a serger or anything. Just use a sewing machine that has straight stitch and zigzag stitch capabilities. And I'm also providing you with the free downloadable PDF pattern template to make this in a one size fits most. We've already tested them for sizes in between kids size 2 all the way up to women's size 10.5, 11, which is what I wear. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy this project. Let's jump right into how you download the PDF pattern and get right into making my no-show slip socks. All right, so here is my no-show slip sock. This is going to be a one size fits most pattern. Now it's very important to use a stretchy fabric. The fabric I'm working with here and what I've used for all the ones we've made is a cotton spandex blend. 95% cotton and 5% spandex, so you can see that it's nice and stretchy. Now the first step is going to be to get access to the PDF template. This is a free downloadable PDF I created for you. You can get it off of my online shop. You'll need to purchase it for free for $0, proceed through the checkout page like you're buying it, and then you'll get an emailed receipt that will have the downloading link. Before you print it, download it to your computer and save it first. Then open the file in Adobe PDF Reader, which is a free PDF reader, because if you don't do that, sometimes you'll get it distorted and you don't want it to be smaller than I designed it to be. So one way to double check it is by checking these scale squares that we've included here for you. This is in inches, and that should measure exactly 1 inch by 1 inch. If it does, then you know that your printer settings were set to print at 100%, which is how it should be, and then your template is going to print out at the correct size that I designed it to be. So first you're going to cut out your template piece. Then we'll take a piece of fabric, and I'm folding it in half so that I have 2 layers. I'm going to cut out both of my little socks at once. Now this cotton spandex blend, I find that has 100% stretch in both directions, both the crosswise grain and the lengthwise grain. So I know that that amount of stretch in a fabric is going to work fine. If you're using different blends, always double check. And if you are making it for some of maybe the adult larger sizes, I would recommend that you have at least 100% stretch along both grain lines, so along crosswise and the lengthwise grain, to ensure that you have enough stretch to get both around the foot and to stretch and reach the length of the foot. And you can use pins or weights to hold it in place, and we're going to carefully cut around it. Now we have our 2 socks. Let's grab our iron and ironing board, and we're going to grab some ballpoint pins. We carry these in our online shop, and this is what I recommend when you're working with stretch knit fabrics. The ballpoint pins are similar to the ballpoint needle, have a blunt tip. So instead of piercing through the stretch fabric fibers, they're going to nestle in between them. Take one sock and flip it over pretty side face down, and these straight edges down here, we're going to fold these guys under by about 5/8 of an inch. You can measure this if you want to, or you can eyeball it as well. Grab your iron and give it a press to set that in place. And repeat to the opposite side. At this step, it's key that it be consistent how much you turned it over by, because these guys should match right here to right here. So once that's done, you can, if you have a pretty stable fabric like I have here, you probably won't need pins, but if you do, go ahead and place some pins through here just to help hold that folded under edge in place. Now we'll repeat the steps to the other sock. Again, make sure that these match up and finish at about the same point on either side. And then we're going to head over to the sewing machine, and we're going to set our machine to a zigzag stitch. We're going to stitch down here at this angled edge and then pivot and come down the straight side to all 4 of these turned under edges. All right, so for sewing this, I have a machine set to a zigzag stitch with a stitch length of 2.0 millimeters and a stitch width of about 3.5. Now, I do recommend that you put in a ballpoint jersey needle in your machine. And my machine, I don't have to change anything else to stitch through stretch knits. But if you know that your machine eats the knits or it doesn't like them, go ahead and, set your machine to whatever you need it to do in order to get some good stitches on the stretchy fabrics. And we're back stitching at beginning and end. So I trimmed my threads, I gave it a nice press. Now I grabbed my ballpoint pins. We're going to fold these guys in half with pretty sides touching vertically. And you'll start to see how it comes together, like this. Now we're going to place pins along two straight edges. So one down here, and then leave this corner alone. We're just going to back stitch here and back stitch here. We're going to pin on this edge, and then we're also going to pin on this straight edge here. And we're going to sew these two straight lines first. So now we'll head over to the sewing machine. We're going to use a straight stitch, believe it or not, with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we're going to stitch down both of the back seams, the straight edges here, back stitching at beginning and ends of both of these seams, and then along this straight edge here, again, back stitching at the beginning and at the ends. And if you don't think that straight stitch is going to work, here, I'll show you the inside of this one. We stitched it just with a regular straight stitch, and I'll show you how they don't pop. No stitches popping there, and no stitches popping here. And really, this is not getting stretched out this way as much as it is getting stretched out this way when you're wearing it. And you can see that there's some really good strength there without it popping or breaking on us. So if you don't feel comfortable doing a straight stitch with this cotton spandex blend, no worries. You can also use a narrow zigzag stitch, or if you have a serger. I mean, there's so many different options to finish this. I'm just showing you how to do it with some basic straight stitch and zigzag stitch. So let's grab these and head over to the sewing machine. All right, now that the two straight seams are done, we're going to reach inside. And it's kind of like making the little box corners on a handbag. You're going to open this up. So instead of it being like this, you're going to open it up like this, so that the straight seam that you just sewed is actually going vertical down the middle. And this is going to be where the toes go. So now the tricky part is just to kind of make a slight curve over here to close up that opening. So you can start higher up here, but again, still using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and stitch a curve. You can press the seam open as you go over it and back stitch at the beginning and ends of this seam. And you're going to do the same thing for the heel. Pinch it so that the straight seam you just sewed is going vertically down the middle. And again, do a slight curve. Press the center seam open as you stitch over it and come across the other side. Then go ahead and trim up all your little threads that you might have sticking out. And you can even go in and trim your seam allowances down to about 1/8 inch if you find that you need to clean some up. If your edges weren't exactly straight, go ahead and clean them up. Reach inside and flip them over, and your little no-show slip socks are complete. And that's it for this video tutorial. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make my no-show slip socks. If you have scraps of cotton spandex in your stash, this is going to be the perfect project to make some for yourself and to gift to others. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit it with the thumbs up, Share it across the different social media sites and with your crafty friends, and don't forget to click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming video tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for day 8. Bye!